Hi guys, it's time to get some keywords learnt for Theme D for the upcoming exam, which is this Thursday if you're watching sort of in real time. If you're watching this after the exam, mad choice, too late. I mean, like, it might be nice to watch it, but it won't help you with the exam. Like, these are all to help with the 2022 RE exam. I guess they help with the 2023 and 24 exam as well. There's no reason it wouldn't, but, you know, this is specifically for the 2022 exam. To the people who've asked me to do Theme C and Theme F, I'm sorry, I'm just running out of time to produce stuff for my own classes now. And this is not to be callous, but that's my sort of primary one, is to do the modules that my class are doing. If you are doing Theme F, I do have, where does it, is this where I went before? I do have videos on Theme F on my channel, older ones. This is interesting. I don't know how I'll get out of here. I'm on a quest for more copper. Because I need to build a roof for my church, and I don't think I've been down here before. I don't know what those are. Bombs? No. Mushrooms. Makes more sense. So we're going to sort of go exploring. But so the people who want the Theme C, I've never taught Theme C, so I've never had to sort of teach it to my students. So I haven't actually got any decent resources for it. I do apologise. I did, to the person who's doing Theme C, give a few rundowns of the questions that I thought might come up, but my main focus is going to be Theme D and E from now on. So I do apologise for anyone who might be disappointed by that. So today, just keywords, nice and simple keywords, and this is the module about war and conflict, okay, so peace and conflict. So the first one is conflict itself, okay? So conflict is a dispute between two sides. Now, though that can be a personal conflict, this module is very much set up for you to talk about conflict on an international level, okay? To talk about conflict between two nations or between sort of a civil conflict, but what they're normally going to be asking about is war and warfare. Why is that important? Well, they're asking about that because they want you to talk about the religious views on war. Yes, you could. If there's a question that directly asks about conflict, you could start talking about personal conflict, but I think you're going to have more quotes and more information to talk about war as a topic. Do I pick the mushrooms? So let's put a sign down for this one, actually. The first word is conflict, okay? Conflict. And maybe these will help me figure out my way out of the cave when I get stuck. Oh, yes, I can pick up the mushrooms. Red mushroom. Can I build anything with a red mushroom? Mine cart with chest. Oh, fire charge. No. No, I don't seem to be able to build anything with these mushrooms. Maybe when I get to my special makey table, I can build things with them. So conflict is a dispute between two sides. I think a lot of the time you end up going to talk about war in that one. If the word conflict comes up, it might be just as a one marker. And so it might be just like, which of these words means a dispute between two sides? And it might, like, they might have some purposefully sort of misleading ones, like some of the other keywords we've worked today, like pacifism. Otherwise, they might use it in the wording of the 12-mark question. So the 12-mark question, to make it slightly more complicated and to try and make your life less easy. And the exam board would never say they're doing that, but you always sometimes get the feeling they're doing that. They might say, rather than war is never right, it might say, like, a religious believer should never get involved in a conflict. And you're going to talk about war still probably in that question. But it does give a tiny bit more scope for you to talk about other sort of ideas. Do I follow the waterfall down, or do I follow the waterfall to the top? I don't know. Anyway, the second term, and I think this, let's follow it to the top. Oh, there's that stuff on the walls again. Never sure how you get that. When you hit it, it just disappears. Not sure what that is still. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is like a nice topic in the exam in terms of there's so many Christian ideas about it particularly, okay? And I'm going to focus on the Christian ideas because I know everyone is doing Christianity. So forgiveness, okay, you've got so many quotes as well, and we'll do them tomorrow. Forgive 70 times 7, forgive and you'll be forgiven, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. Like, these are all simple quotes about forgiveness and why we should forgive, okay? What does the word forgiveness actually mean? That's more complicated than you might think, okay? It doesn't mean like, because a lot of the time we'll use the word forgiveness, but if you ask for a definition, the person will just say, well, it just means to forgive someone. But, this is getting narrow down here, isn't it? I can't see anything good. Is that... Where does that go? Well, I mean, I don't know how I'll get out, but we'll work it out in the end, I'm sure. So we're on our quest for copper. to get it. So forgiveness, for me, I would always use a definition like to let go of feelings of anger or resentment towards someone for a wrong they've done on. Maybe just simple as moving on from feelings of anger or resentment. That's the simplest way of doing it. If there's a question on forgiveness, it might be like, for example, explain 2 Christian teachings on forgiveness. 2 religious teachings on forgiveness. That, for me, would be a beautiful question, okay? I would have no problems with, wishing that question upon you. And if any of you sit there going, I wouldn't like that question, it isn't difficult, okay? You're going to be talking about why forgiveness is good and be saying, oh, forgiveness is a good thing. This is getting deep. Should I just keep going? Oh, my Lord, is that too deep? Ow, yes. Haven't thought this through. You're going to basically be arguing that forgiveness... Now, have I got any blocks I can climb back up? Oh, yeah, okay, I've got some stone. Okay, that's nice. Put it there into my book. It really shows my values at the moment, that I'm more in favour of some stone than a book. But needs must. That was dangerous. Ow, hitting my head. Okay, let's clamber out of this problem you've made for yourself. You silly old man. Oh. Up this little ladder. Okay, so forgiveness. I wrote forgiveness on a wall already, didn't I? That's a nice one. I think forgiveness is a nice, easy one. The only time that I would not like it so much is if it came off as a 12 marker. 12 marker on forgiveness could be a bit more of a pickle, and you might be saying things like why we shouldn't forgive. But I don't think that's too difficult, because just go from a non-religious point of view and be like, oh, well, sometimes it's not right to forgive because maybe the thing has done is unforgivable because it's too extreme a sin, that we should not forgive certain people because they might commit that sin again, because they're not being punished for it properly because we're forgiving them. And I don't think there's anything too difficult in there. Okay, so it was wrong to go that way, so let's go back this way and look for more copper. Next keyword. This is one that I could definitely see coming up as a 4, 5 or 12 mark question. Holy war, okay? And it might say like, explain. Now, obviously it could be the 4 mark or 5 mark, explain 2 religious teachings about holy war. Don't think that's too bad, okay? You know, Christians might think they have a duty to take part in a holy war as it's to protect their faith. A time for war and a time for peace, as the Bible tells us. Jesus says, do not think I came to bring peace. I came not for peace, but I came with a sword. Okay, like if you do not have a sword, sell your shirt. And I've been down there already then, because they're the 3 torches I made to let me know that's where my stopping point was once. Look, I'm a genius. And this is like a stalagmite. Evolution. That was me. I wrote that. Evolution. So you could say, oh, Christians should take part in a holy war, and then you've got your easy arguments against holy war. Oh. Pointed dripstone. Well, I know my new nickname for anyone I don't like. I'm going to start calling them a dripstone. Right, dripstone. So, yes, copper. So, then you've got your arguments against holy war, you know, turn the other cheek, we should not react to violence with violence, thou shalt not kill, it's never right to take a human life. So, you know, you've got a simple argument for and against it, okay? Oh, no, I forgot about you goblins. Goblin, go away. Right. And I guess you're more pointed dripstones. I don't know why I'd want bits of pointed dripstone, though. I imagine you can build something out of them, but my church needs a copper roof. And a charming person in the comments let me know that I can polish the copper so it doesn't go oxidised. I actually think I want it to oxidise and go green. I like the thought of a green coppery roof. Right. I need to remember that I need to go... Is it that way? Back up this way. So, holy war I don't think is too difficult. And if you... Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. If you are confident talking about Islam, Islam's got some beautiful holy war stuff because you can talk about... Oh, I've got this mutton. I did have to kill some sheep in a separate adventure to try and find wood where some sheep turned up. Oh, more of you guys. Islam's got some great holy war stuff because you've got the lesser and greater jihad, which I've done in one of my other videos, but I'll do again tomorrow when we go over some stuff because it's such an some string fell out of that one. Now, one of my students did say you can build fishing rods, and we had string, so maybe that is a useful idea for later. But what's the point of building a fishing rod? We don't have any water around here. We just have ice. Monster. I'm going to draw a little arrow so I know where to get back. That's my little arrow. So when I see that, I know to go that way. I don't want to get lost down here. So that's holy war, okay? And you've got the lesser jihad. That's every Muslim's duty to fight to defend the religion, okay? Every Muslim has a duty to defend the religion of Islam. The lesser jihad, and you can argue once again, it's a Muslim duty to defend the religion. If it's under attack, every Muslim should stand up and fight for the faith. The faith is important to Allah, so it's our duty to protect it. However, it's wrong to take a life. He who takes a life is as if they've killed all of mankind. So the Quran suggests we cannot take life unless it is completely necessary. And yet we've also got that Muhammad said that the greater jihad was more important than the lesser jihad, so you can do that. But you could say, it's important to fight in a religious war as long as it's a defensive religious war, because the Quran says Allah does not love the aggressor. Why are you always hitting me? I need to eat more lamb. I might die. I've got to be very careful around here. I'm running out of torches as well. Have I got enough copper that I should leave? Maybe I should take this copper back and then come down and do another trip. Okay, I'm going to take this copper back. And I'll put some signs up as I go. So I think Holy War could be a nice question. I wouldn't be against it at all. I think it has come up recently as a 12-mark question, so I don't exactly expect it to be a 12-marker. But could I see it coming up as a 4 or 5 marker? Of course. And then anything can come as a 1 and 2 marker. So that none of that would surprise me the slightest. Okay, now as we go past here, justice. Okay. So justice is a nice topic. Okay. Justice is the idea of bringing fairness back to a situation. Okay. Now you can talk about justice obviously in the crime module if your school are doing the crime module. My school definitely are, and I want all my students to remember that. Okay. A, B, D, E is what we do. Okay. A big donkey eats. There we go. That's a way of remembering it. Okay. I know my students in school have ruder ways of remembering it, and I don't want to know them. You lot stick with your ways, and I'll stick with my slightly more polite ways or strange ways, whichever way I've told you in class. Some of them are a bit weird, but as long as we remember, that's the most important thing. So justice, bringing fairness back to a situation. Why would they ask about justice in a war section? Well, you could say that a war should be fought for justice to make the world a fairer place. You could be talking about how a war has been fought to restore justice. Okay, so if, to take international conflict again, this could be an argument, should Britain get involved in the situation in Ukraine to restore justice? Oh, look how much snow has fallen. It's like snowed in around here. It's very cool how the snow all falls. I do like that. There's my church. Right, I had also planned to make a bed in the church so I could sleep in there. Is that the moon going down? Oh, excellent, it's almost daytime. Let's drop some of our stuff off. And we might have to try and find some more food. So justice, don't think that's a difficult one at all, justice, okay? Bringing fairness back, you're going to argue that justice is a good thing. We should try and restore justice. God is just, so we should try and make the world a more just place. I think the only thing that you would struggle with is if it came on to 12-mark question, arguing against justice. So it might be like, every war should be fought, it's a good reason to go to war to restore justice. And you might be like, am I got to argue against justice? I wouldn't argue against justice. I would argue against war as a general concept and be like, it's not that a war for justice isn't good, it's just that all war is bad. Look, that's 63 blocks now. I'm getting so many copper ingots. Ingot. Okay, now, let's go outside and put another sign down while we're here. We'll put it there. Just war, okay? A just war is a set of rules for fighting in a war considered a correct way. Sorry, I'm just going to try and move the dog. Come here, dog. She's trying to get on the sofa again. She loves being on the sofa. So, trying to fight a war in the correct way, or justified and acceptable to God. Not necessarily a holy war, because a holy war is a war fought for a religious purpose, a war that is sanctioned by God. This is, I've got to go to war, and if I've got to go to war, I'd best do it in a morally correct way, a way that would please God. So, pardon me. So it was the term was originally coined by a guy called Thomas Aquinas. You don't need to know that; it's just a nice thing to know. that Thomas Aquinas coined this phrase and was sort of referencing this idea that some wars had to be fought for the sort of right reason. Some wars needed to be fought for a sort of proper purpose. And he said they had to have a just cause, that they had to have a reasonable chance of success, that they had to have the right intention, they had to be doing it for the right reason. That what else was his rules of just war? That they had to a proportion. They had to be proportional. So you couldn't just go into a war and sort of like destroy whole countries because someone had insulted you. Okay, so you know, Thomas Aquinas did come up with like quite a lot of rules for fighting the war, and most of which I think are relatively reasonable. Oh yeah, let's get rid of this copper. We didn't find any of that type of metal. And that's upsetting because my pickaxe is a little bit broken. Okay, let's go back a mining again for more copper. So that's what just war is, okay? Just war. And we'll look. I would be very surprised if just war, even if just war doesn't come up as a 12 marker, I would be very surprised if there wasn't some way of getting just war into your answers, because in my mind there's going to be a question about the nature of war, whether it's just war or, you know, is it ever right to fight in a war or something like that. And I think either in the 4, 5 or 12 marker you will talk about just war, or it will be a good idea to talk about just war. So I'd be very surprised if just war didn't come out at all, come up at all. Okay, now this is one, and I'm going to write these two down together because I think they go together. Okay. Oh, it would help if I didn't keep doing the slash. Nuclear deterrent. Okay, nuclear deterrent, and nuclear weapons / war. Okay. So, nuclear weapons is a weapon of mass destruction which causes widespread damage and a loss of life. Was a weapons of mass destruction generally in a later one. Yes, I have got that saved for later. So a nuclear weapon is a weapon that uses nuclear power to cause an explosion that would create a large-scale loss of life. Okay. A nuclear war would be fought with these weapons. Okay. What is the nuclear deterrent? The nuclear deterrent is the aim of reducing warfare by people having nuclear weapons. What does that mean? Well, this is the idea that if everyone has nuclear weapons, a nuclear war is less likely. That might seem counterintuitive at first. Really tempted just to jump down there and play in that water. Screw it. Oh, that's deep. That's so deep. That was so unwise. Oh, I thought it was going to be like a foot deep. Oh, wow, that's mad. Let's put a torch there and let's see where we can get to. Floating along here. Oh, that was so deep. That's so wild. I don't know what I'm going to do about that then. And it flows down there. Okay, we might follow it down there, but I'm going to have a look down there again. So, you know, if everyone in a school classroom had a rocket launcher, no one could use their rocket launcher because you'd be too scared of everyone else using their rocket launcher. I know that's a strange way of phrasing it. What is this sort of brown stuff? Is that the same as the dripstone? I don't know. Oh my lord, it's so what? Look at that, it's massive. Huh, this game is really big. I know that those of you who've played lots of this game might be like, you are an idiot who's looking at a very small thing in the game. But man, look how deep that all is. Anyway, so like, and also if in the classroom where we all have rocket launchers, which I admit is a bit of a strange example for someone to use, but stick with me here. If we all have rocket launchers, there may be other forms of fighting will go down as well. People are less likely to punch each other because a lot of the students have rocket launchers, okay? This sort of fits with the idea, where's that going? Just not going anywhere. So that's how sort of the idea of nuclear deterrent goes. That if everyone has nuclear weapons, then war is less likely because people will be too scared to go to war. How is this like an RE topic? Well, obviously, you know, you've got like, we should have. What is that? What are you? Are you? No, you're too beautiful to stab. Look at you sparkle. I'm just going to watch you for a bit. You've got the idea that if nuclear deterrent lowers the chances of going to war, then maybe it's a good thing because it will make war less likely. And therefore it will save lives. So you could argue that the nuclear weapons are a good thing because it leads to less warfare. Since the advent of nuclear war, we have had no world wars. Though the situation in Ukraine and Russia is tense, it is not yet devolved into a world war. And you could argue that part of that is because of the nuclear deterrent. What do I mean? Well, the fact that people are too scared to get involved because Russia could launch a nuclear weapon might be part of the reason why that hasn't developed into a nuclear war. Now, another person might say, well, hang on a minute, the only reason that people can't stop Russia and sort of attack them is because they have these nuclear weapons, and isn't that part of the reason why Russia are able to get away with so many acts of aggression? And I think there is an argument there, if you want to make that, and I do apologise for making this somewhat political, but I think that's an argument. So you can bring up those sort of modern questions in that nuclear deterrent question, okay? I don't think there's any problem with that at all. Now, a word that if this doesn't come up, I will eat my hat, and I'm not wearing my hat today. The music's got really trippy and sort of spacey, and maybe it's because I saw that pacifism, that squid. I know it's a squid because I killed the squid before, but a glowing squid. I worry that when this goes out, people are going to see it and be like, you should have killed that. That gives you the gem of Aurelius and you can summon a dragon with it, but it was too pretty to kill. And sometimes you just have to make a decision. Pacifism's belief that all violence is wrong and this affects how people behave. For example, if you are a pacifist, you will not go to war as a soldier because you will not want to take a life. If you're a pacifist, you will not believe in nuclear weapons because they take lives. Okay? If you are a pacifist, you might want to see all warfare stopped because you don't believe that violence is ever the answer. Okay? So this is a pacifist. In some form, you will talk about pacifism because whatever the 4, 5, or 12 marker is, it will almost certainly have some room for the word pacifism in there. If you haven't used it by the end of that section, I would guess that you've probably gone wrong somewhere. Now, this is when the exam's going to make me look stupid and suddenly come up with a way, that's full of water. Was that always full of water? I don't know. The exam's now going to make me look stupid by sort of releasing a set of questions that doesn't involve the word pacifism at all, and I'll have to retract that statement and come on here sheepishly and go, oh yeah, pacifism didn't come up at all, guys. But I just really feel, I can't imagine how they would write this section and not have pacifism come up at all. I'm just going to turn the volume down a little bit because it's getting so spacey. Okay, now once again, this word is a word that looks easy at first and probably is. Okay, peace. Okay, this is the opposite of war, harmony between all in society. Okay, you might argue that religion should always be working towards peace, that the objective even of any war is peace. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you believe in a just war, you believe that the war should be aiming to make the world a peaceful and more just place afterwards, that the aim of the war was not just to have the war, it shouldn't be for a purpose of greed or for expansion, it should be to improve society and make it a juster and more harmonious place. For example, going back to World War II, if you believe that World War II was a justified war, you might be like, right, that was a justified war because they were able to stop Hitler. Hitler was causing conflict, and by stopping Hitler, I made the world a more peaceful and just place. Okay, that is a nice, simple one. Okay, it can also be how you justify the use of nuclear weapons. So atomic weapons and weapons of mass destruction have been used by America on one occasion to end the Second World War, essentially. Okay, Japan wasn't surrendering. America, now this is a massive oversimplification of the situation there, but this is an RE exam, not a history exam. So if you are doing history and you're like, Mr. Minton is simplifying this massively, yeah, because I need you to explain it simply in an RE exam, not to do a whole history paper on it. I'm sorry to any history teachers, but that's my job in this, is to get people marks in the RE exam, not to explain the history as perfectly as possible, which I'm not. America dropped the atomic weapons, Fat Man and Little Boy, I believe they were called, or Little Man and Fat Boy? No, Fat Man and Little Boy. I'm sure they were called that. Now I've confused myself because that sounds like silly names. Look them up yourself if you're not sure. I'm now going to have to look them up afterwards because I'm not sure anymore. They dropped those 2 nuclear weapons in order to bring about peace, okay? Peace doesn't necessarily, if you believe in peace, it doesn't mean you only believe in peace. You might believe that sometimes it is necessary to fight to get to a peaceful solution. That sometimes you might have to fight to restore peace and justice. If there is an intolerant, unpeaceful ruler, you might have to fight them and be like, no, it is right to go to war with this unpeaceful person in order to restore longer term peace. Not everyone who believes in peace is a pacifist, okay? And I think there's many arguments that Jesus wasn't a pacifist. Yes, he told people to turn the other cheek. Yes, he told people to love thy neighbour. But don't forget, if you do not have a sword, sell your shirt and buy one, okay? Jesus tells people to arm up, get a sword, that sometimes there is fighting to be done. Ugh! I've released that water and it's now sort of flooded me. Oh, I'm just going to leave that one bit of coal. Okay, let's go and take this lot of stuff back. And we'll have to make some more torches, because I've only got 5 left. I still haven't found any more metal. I don't know where you find that. Maybe I'm not in the right place. If someone knows where the proper metal is that I make all my weapons out of, please let me know, because I'm running out of spades and axes and stuff like that made out of the good metal. And you can't seem to make that out of copper. I've yet to work out the purpose of copper, apart from it being pretty. Maybe it's just meant to be pretty. And it is pretty. And I cannot wait to make my big copper roof. I'm going to look so cool. Okay, so that's... I don't know if I wrote peace on a sign. I can't remember. I think I did. Okay, and with peace, you've got peacemaking. So, peacemaking is the idea that some people actively work to bring about peace and harmony in society, okay? So, some people, it's not enough to be, believing in peace. You need to actively try and make the world a more peaceful place. By promoting peace, working for religious charities, promoting interfaith dialogue, discussion between religions, okay? All these ideas could be said to increase the amount of peace in the world, okay? And you might go, oh, for example, a group that works to promote peace is Christian Aid or CAFOD or Corrymeela, okay? Corrymeela is an example they often use for reconciliation. Corrymeela promoted peace between the people of Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland, between Catholics and Protestants. So Corrymeela is a great example of a group who work to promote peace in the world, okay? Corrymeela, you may have done it for your first exam. I don't think I mentioned it for reconciliation, but it's a very good example. I probably should have mentioned it if I didn't in the video. I genuinely can't remember if I mentioned it. If I didn't, I should have done, okay? So, that's that one, okay? 64. Let's put another 10 of them in there. And put another 64 bits of copper in there. Next one. Oh, I need to go outside. Alright, let's go to sleep for a second. Oh, there's monsters nearby. Alright, let's go and stab some monsters. Yeah. The next one is protest, okay? Yeah. That's your protest. Protest. Protest is the idea, a statement or an action designed to express disagreement, okay? Can be organised, can be an organised event to demonstrate disagreement with a policy or political action. So any form of action to demonstrate that you disagree with something, okay? A march, a poster itself, even a sit-in, a boycott. Anything you're doing to let people know that you're against something, okay? That you're against a concept or idea and you're fighting against it and you're standing up against it, okay? Is a protest. How will that come out? Well, people might use it as a way of promoting peace. There might be a question about non-violent protest. It might suggest that all protests should be non-violent, and you can talk about Martin Luther King promoting non-violent protest. Jesus told us to be peaceful, okay? However, you might say sometimes non-violent protest isn't enough, and people can ignore non-violent protest, and sometimes eventually you may have to fight to do what you think is right. Where is this monster that's stopping me closing this door? Hello? Oh, you. Gareth. That's what I'm calling you. Gareth. Hanging out behind my house, shooting arrows into me legs. You're a jerk, and everyone thinks it, including your cousin, Gareth. So, protest, okay? On to the last ones of our words today. So, I need to eat another lamb chop. Oh, that hasn't gone as well as I thought. I thought they'd have all... Maybe they don't happen while I'm sleeping. Don't know. Oh, okay, let's actually make all the blocks quickly. Huh? Huh? I got the ingots. How do I make the big copper blocks? Ah, there. I can only make 13 of them. Oh, this might be more difficult than I thought. Oh, that is a disappointment. Right, let's go and count out how many we need and put another sign up for the next word. So next word is reconciliation. Right, we did reconciliation for the Christian exam, but some of you might not have watched the videos for the Christian exam because you weren't panicking about that one, and then maybe that one went well or better than you expected. You're like, oh, actually, if that one went all right, maybe I'll come and put some effort in for my second exam. That was foolish. Foolish. You are foolish. How do I get onto my roof? I'm going to have to build some steps. Annoyed at myself. Right, let's collect some snow to make some steps. Oh, I accidentally dug some holes there. That's fine. How do I make snow? Yeah, there's my snow blocks. So reconciliation is the idea of making peace between people who are in conflict. Okay, rebuilding sort of the relationship after people have got into conflict. That was really successful. I'm very proud of myself. Right. Oh, there's some bones up here. Always a creepy thing to find on your roof. Right, so let's say we do that, and then that, and then, oh man, this is going to use them up all so quickly. But I can make it hollow inside, so that we just need to build the frame essentially. Where's the front door? There. So that is that the centre? So reconciliation is repairing a relationship. So if I'm at war with a country, I might need to. Wow, I'm going to need so many blocks to build this. Ooh. We'll count how many that is, and then I'll count the edge outer ledge and times it by how long it is, and that'll give us a rough idea of how big I need to make this. But this is going to suggest it's going to be absolutely massive. But does it look pretty from down below? Oh wait, where's my little ladder? Plonk, 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 plonk. I think I've put my ladder in the one place I'm not going to be able to get up eventually, which is silly. Yeah, that will look absolutely amazing when it's done, especially once I've worked out how to make windows as well. Anywho, let's go put my sign for reconciliation down. Ponk. Reconciliation. So we're making peace after a period of conflict, okay? Me and my wife had an argument, we make peace, reconciliation. Ukraine and Russia sign a peace treaty, that is reconciliation. Putin and Zelensky meet up in, what's a neutral country now? I don't know. Mexico, very random choice for a neutral country, but a neutral country nonetheless, I suppose. I don't actually know about where Mexico truly stood on the war. Don't know. Really wouldn't be able to guess. So they go to Mexico and they sign peace treaties. That is reconciliation. They are reconciling their differences. They are making up for their differences. Put these bones in this cupboard, okay? That is reconciliation. Why do we want to do this? Well, one, it restores peace and harmony. God likes peace and harmony because it leads to less violence, therefore leads to less death, and that is a good thing. Why else does God like reconciliation? Because he reconciled with us. What does that mean? When Jesus died on the cross, that was his reconciliation with humankind when he made peace with us and allowed human beings to get into heaven again. So if God can reconcile with us, then we should be able to reconcile with each other. Okay, it's the example we should follow. Jesus forgave us, and Jesus forgives us, and God forgives us. Forgiveness is a massive part of reconciliation. So if Jesus can forgive us, we need to forgive others and reconcile our differences between them. God created all of mankind in his image, so we should forgive others because God created all of us equally. These are sort of basic ideas you're going for in this sense. Okay, I'm not expecting anything more complicated than that, really. 12-mark question on reconciliation. Could see it coming up. It wouldn't be my favourite. I'd be a little bit like, ugh, that's a tough one. But I could see it coming up, okay? And almost the opposite of reconciliation is retaliation, okay? Retaliation is to pay someone back for their harmful actions, okay? So someone comes into my classroom and throws a book at my head, and I throw the book back at them. I retaliated, okay? Why is that important for an RE exam? You can be a cause of warfare, can't it? Like, the America's retaliation for the Twin Towers was the invasion of Iraq, okay? Invasion of Afghanistan. Sorry, terrible example there to get horribly wrong, okay? Though if you saw George W. Bush at the weekend with his speech about Ukraine, you'll see how easy it is to get those things wrong and make yourself look like an absolute... Oh, yes, I can make more torches. That's good. Make yourself look like an absolute idiot. Well done, Mr. George W. Bush, for looking like an absolute plum. Oh, wow, that goes much further. But there was some copper there. I just want to make sure there's no goblins down here that I have to get rid of. No, we're all fine. Okay, copper here as well. So, retaliation to retaliate for something. I can't imagine they'd ask a 4 or 5 marker about it. Weirdly, I could see it come up as a 12, only in relation to war, and they might put like retaliation is not a good reason to go to war. And I don't think that's the worst question. You'd go like, retaliation is not a good reason to go to war. We should only go to war to make the world a more peaceful place. Retaliation is just to attack someone because they attacked you. It doesn't mean you're actually under attack yourself. The rules of just war suggest that it wouldn't be necessary unless it was a war that was fought for a proper purpose and you were restoring a sense of peace and justice. And then you could say, however, like Muslims might agree that a war for retaliation would be acceptable because the Quran says Allah does not love the aggressor, which suggests if you are defending yourself, then a war would be the correct choice. However, Muslims would suggest that if the war is unnecessary, then peace would be the better option. He who takes one life is if he's killed all of mankind. Okay, so I think those are sort of things. I wouldn't hate a question of retaliation, but I would be a bit annoyed because, especially if you're not great at remembering every single key term that comes up, they've just made a question about war basically a bit more difficult for no reason, except for just to try and make your life more difficult. Okay, then terrorism. Okay, terrorism is the idea that is the action where you commit acts of violence and threat to intimidate others, used for political or for political purposes, essentially. Okay, to build fear in the ordinary population and secure demands from governments. Okay, so I want the government to ban a certain thing. I want them to ban the chocolate bar fruit and nut because I don't believe that raisins have any place in chocolate. I mean, I don't think I'd go so far as terrorism, but that is a belief that I hold. Raisins in chocolate is a sin, and it's a sin against everything that I stand for. And if I do stand for a political party, it will fundamentally remove fruit and nut from society, and cookies that look like they're chocolate chips and are actually raisin. Unacceptable. I consider that to be a form of terrorism when you put a raisin into a biscuit and make me think it's a chocolate chip, and I eat it, and then I have to taste that horrible raisiny taste. And I thought I was getting a lovely chocolate chip. Absolutely awful. The people who do that should go to prison, and I don't think I have any doubt about that. I won't take that back, and I think that's the right thing to say. Okay, that is the sin beyond all sins. Oh, I've got quite a lot of copper. Right, let's take my copper home. So terrorism. They will never ask you to argue that terrorism is right, and if I'm doing this exam myself, I never argue. Oh, am I going the right way? Where's my? No, I've got to go up there. That was the point of my arrow, remember to go up here. I would never argue that terrorism is right, okay? Now, this is going to sound really silly, even though I think actually you could probably, if you were really good, write a pretty good 12-mark answer about who decides who is a terrorist. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Like, people considered Nelson Mandela a terrorist in his day, and yet now he's seen as a hero. Many people would have described Martin Luther King as a terrorist because he was using threats, weirdly, of boycott, but people consider those to be threats to sort of bring down society because he was demanding rights of black people. The government didn't like him, so could the government just declare anyone they don't like a terrorist? It's an interesting sort of idea. But for the purpose of this exam, we are not having some sort of massive sociological debate about the nature of terrorism and whether we can trust governments to make sort of decisions about what is wrong and right for us. What you're answering is the question in an RE exam to get marked, and that is going to be terrorism is bad because it kills people. Terrorism is bad because, oh, that was close than I thought. I forgot I've come out the back door somehow. So you're going to argue that terrorism is wrong and just go for the thou shalt not kill. It's not a just war because it's fought for the wrong reasons. If you're going for the Muslim argument, that it's got to be against Allah does not love the aggressor because terrorism is an act of intimidate innocent people nearly always against the general population. So that's how I would approach that question on terrorism. Okay, I probably would never argue that it's correct, even if I thought there was a clever argument to make it correct. For the purpose of this exam, I'd keep it safe. Okay. Victims of war. What are victims of war? Victims of war is anyone who is negatively affected by the war. Now, obviously the primary victim of war, when we think about it, is probably going to be the soldiers who perished during that war. That just makes sense, okay? If someone dies in a war, they are a victim of war. Now, it's a very... I don't want to say obvious because that sounds like I'm being mean about it, but that's a very straightforward definition, okay? A victim of war is someone who dies because of that war. But there can be the families of those people who died during the war because they have lost a loved one. They have probably lost a provider in the household, as in someone who financially provides. They have lost like a support network, and they've got the emotional damage of that. The victims of war could be people who don't die but are wounded in the war, and that could be soldiers once again, and that could be physical wounds, but that could also be the mental scars they carry, and you're welcome to mention conditions like PTSD and stuff like that. And the victims of war could be civilians who are damaged in it, like that could be once again physically damaged, or it could be the damage that is done by the destruction of their homes, the destruction of their land, destruction of their infrastructure, as in or their schools are destroyed, their hospitals are destroyed. How can they carry on when all those things are destroyed? They are a victim of that war. Though they may themselves not have been killed, their lives have been made substantially worse, and they've been harmed by that war. Okay, those are the two we're going to talk about. Why is that going to come up? Because it might ask you to explain how religious people should treat victims of war, and you're obviously going to say with love and stuff like that. We'll go over that tomorrow when we do quotes, but that's a really easy one. God, if that came up as a 4 or 5 mark, I'd love it. I can't imagine it could be a 12 marker, because I don't know what the counter argument is that we should just mug off victims of war. You'd have to do some very callous counter arguments to it, and I can't imagine them doing that. But once again, now I've said that, we'll find out on Thursday that's exactly what they have done. But I just really don't believe that'll be the question. But I'll try and briefly mention tomorrow when I go through some 12 markers what it could possibly be, and I'll look through all the old answers and come up with some potential ones. Ow. Idiot. I've really got to stop calling everyone an idiot. No, I'm just going to leave you to burn because you're already on fire, so why do I have to get involved? Yeah. Oh, you didn't leave me any bones. Oh, maybe you did. Maybe it was under the snow. Oh, maybe it was just an arrow. I don't want arrows. What else? Violence, okay? I mean, what was that sign up there saying? So, scientific, sanctity of life, and down here we're just going to have the word violence. Odd signs. Violence. This is any action that involves physical force which intends to hurt or kill someone or cause damage, I suppose, because it could be against a building, okay? And that's just the question might be like, oh, why are religious believers against violence? You can talk about pacifism. Or it might be a question saying like, violence is the only solution to some problems. And you'll be like, yes, violence might be the only solution because in some situations war might be the answer to a problem because all other methods would have been used, and Jesus even suggested that war was sometimes the answer and violence could be the answer, because he said, if you do not have a sword, sell your shirt and buy one, blah blah blah, saying that violence, and you're just going to do an argument about pacifism again, or you can do an argument why war is correct, okay? So violence is nearly always going to lead you into those questions. Now, I mean, this one's easy. War, okay? An armed conflict between 2 or more sides, okay? Some of you might be thinking, why does the question not say 2 or more countries? Because some wars are not between countries. They are just between, 2 internal sides, okay? We call that civil war. We've gone over how you'd answer a question about war lots of times already. It's the same answer you do for a question about just war. The same one sort of you do about a question for pacifism. Same one you do for a question about violence, okay? War is good, war is bad. Simple, simple, simple for a 12 marker. I would love just a simple war is bad question to come up with a 12 marker. It would be lovely stuff. And the last one, okay, is, and I think I saw a bit of grass somewhere. Oh, there we go. Weapons of mass destruction, okay? Weapons of mass destruction is any weapon which is used to cause indiscriminate damage, widespread indiscriminate damage. So indiscriminate means a weapon that cannot be targeted against an individual. For example, if I had a gun, I could aim it at that man's head and kill him. It would be very mean, but I would have chosen him, I'd have aimed the gun, and I'd have killed the person I was aiming at, okay? It would have been committed on purpose, and I can choose who I'm killing with a gun. Now, you could argue, oh, but a gun might misfire, you might hit the wrong person. But that would be a user error. That's not an error of the weapon itself. The weapon is designed to take out the person I aim it at, okay? Whoops. I put a sign on your table. I'll take that away. Sorry. I meant to close that door. I'll leave that sign there. The weapon is designed, a gun is designed to kill the person I'm aiming at. However, if I came to this small village and I dropped a nuclear weapon on it, the nuclear weapon cannot discriminate between the people I want to kill and the people I don't want to kill. So I can't drop the nuclear weapon and be like, oh, kill Frank, but don't kill Keith, okay? Because a nuclear weapon can't do that. Whereas a gun, under my control should be able to do that. So an indiscriminate weapon, a weapon of mass destruction, is one who cannot be targeted against certain people because its damage is so widespread. So which weapons do we consider to be indiscriminate? Well, nuclear weapons we consider to be indiscriminate because the damage done by them is so large that many people are going to get killed in the sort of blast, and therefore it is considered indiscriminate. A chemical weapon is indiscriminate because it can spread in a way that cannot be controlled by the people releasing it, because it can be a sort of a gas or a powder, so the wind can take it and stuff like that, and you can't choose who it kills in the same way because it can spread. And a biological weapon, for example, a virus, okay, like anthrax, okay, is a biological weapon. It's a bacteria that can kill you, and they can put into a powdered form, so if you breathe it in, it kills you. Cannot be controlled, so it's considered a weapon of mass destruction because you can't decide who it kills and who it doesn't. It's indiscriminate. If it goes into the air, if it spreads to those people, it's just going to kill a person. It doesn't matter what side they're on, it doesn't matter how old they are, it just kills people. It's an indiscriminate killer, okay? Those are all the key words you should need for an actual question in tonight's exam. Oh, weapons of mass destruction, if it comes up as a 12-mark question, I would focus on the nuclear war angle because nuclear weapons are considered weapons of mass destruction. So you could be like, yes, nuclear weapons of mass destruction are good. They can give you protection and stop a war happening because you can threaten people with them. Nuclear weapons are bad because they can kill millions of people, and therefore that is bad, dash not kill, and stuff like that. I don't think it's too hard an argument. I'd quite like that question to come up. I'm going to climb onto this hill before I quit for the day because I think it's just a nice place to be. And once again, in the comments, anything you need me to answer question-wise, I'm sorry I can't do full videos on theme F and theme C. Once again, if you just search Mr. Minton and theme F, there's a video on theme F that I did about 3, maybe 4 years ago. I have no materials on theme C at all, and I do apologise. You'll have to find those elsewhere with other teachers who are more professional than I am. But most importantly, good luck in any exams you have tomorrow. I don't know what's on tomorrow. And good luck on Thursday. And I'll see you for another video tomorrow.